Don't worry, I'll get you down. Hop on.
Hey out there, survivors, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Survive Interviews. Today, I am absolutely delighted to be joined by a man of many talents. I am speaking with the incredible Daniel Ross, who is an actor, voice actor, producer, all kinds of wonderful things. And yeah, we're going to get into it here about some of the many roles he's done, including Donald Duck, Starscream, and Lucky the Leprechaun, which is the one I'm very excited about. Daniel, welcome to the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Paddy. You see, I've got some Donald over here. I got a little Starscream over here. I'm waiting for a pop figure of Lucky the Leprechaun because I don't have him represented in my collection yet.
That would be so cool.
So that should be coming next week.
Oh,
thankfully.
Superb! Is that
Yes.
an official Lucky that's being released?
Yeah, there's a bunch of serial ones. They did all the serial characters, and then there's some like Charlie the Tuna. So all the different like pop culture food icons, I guess, are going to make its way through. But I saw that and said, why not me? I must have it. There's a glow-in-the-dark one, and then there's a regular one. I think I'm just getting the regular one.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, the reason I asked, was it an official one? Is I have a production company here in Ireland, and for one of my birthdays, my co-partner got me a Celtic Badger Media.
Oh my gosh!
A custom
I love it.
So that's why I was curious.
Well, this explains some of the other badgers in the background too.
Yes, it does. It was our mutual friend Steve Palmer that told me to reach out to you, and I'm delighted he did. Steve's been amazing at kind of being like, "Hey, Paddy, this person, you should check him out. This person," and Steve is such an incredible, warm-hearted, wonderful guy.
Yeah, he is.
And yeah, I cannot thank him enough, because it's great when I get the opportunity to speak to people like yourself who have not only done work in video games, but we even spoke about it just briefly before we came on, but you said you produced horror movies, which is kind of part of what I've done for the last 6 years as well.
It's really amazing to see kind of where you intend for things to go and where they end up going.
Yes.
In a career. That's always very interesting. But, you know, on Steve for a moment, I met him for the very first time at Stockton Con in Stockton, California last year. And it was such a weird coincidence, a weird and happy coincidence, because I don't play many video games. Okay. So I made it my New Year's resolution. I'm going to play more video games. I'm going to try it. I need to stay up on the business so that I know what I'm doing when I'm auditioning. And I said, you know what? All right, let me find something. And I go through the PlayStation store, and I'm like, everybody's been talking about this Red Dead Redemption 2. Let me give this a try. And then I show up, and it's him and Penny O'Brien. And I'm like, I'm playing you right now. You know,
yes.
So that was so cool. I mean, we were friends on Facebook beforehand, but that was just so surreal to show up and be like, oh, it's all the Red Dead people.
It's incredible. What I've come to learn from chatting to people within the industry and even slightly beyond, and film and everything, is that we're all just nerds and we all just love the same stuff. And
yeah, for the most part.
That's why I think it's very easy, I think, to find people that you get along with within communities like these, because there's so many shared loves. I mean, you've got all these Transformers behind you there, and I mean, growing up, I was a gigantic Transformers fan.
For your viewers, I'll do a little pan up here.
Oh yes,
So I have all my stuff. There's Unicron hanging.
Holy crap!
Yeah, I've got too many.
I remember my best friend growing up had like the big, this was like I'm putting age on myself, but about 1988, my friend had the big Optimus Prime truck. Yeah. And I had like the little like 4-inch or 6-inch figures, like, and he had the truck.
It's not about the size of your Optimus Prime, Paddy.
It is. It's all about the size.
It's about what fits in the trailer.
But his had the trailer. Mine was just the little dude. No, but I remember being obsessed, but it was always like, I had so many interests growing up that I never like, because I I'd want video games, and then I'd want books, and then my friend was just obsessed with Transformers, and then also I wanted an Ewok village as well, so that,
Oh, well, yeah. Who wouldn't want that?
Yeah, exactly, right? Except for 90% of the Star Wars audience, apparently.
My friend Ed Sanchez, who was the director of the Blair Witch Project.
Oh, wow.
He has
I know
a
Eduardo as
basement.
well.
Yes, he was a producer on a couple of my films.
Oh, that's amazing.
Ninjas versus Zombies, Ninjas versus Vampires, Ninjas versus Monsters. We approached him out of the blue and said, "Hey, you did an awesome thing. Can you help guide us a little bit?"
Such an amazing human, though.
Yeah, it turned out to be just an amazing guy. Really down to earth, really fun, really interested in all the same things that we were, and yeah, just an amazing guy. And he has quite a Star Wars collection.
Oh, wow.
He has an entire basement where you flip on the lights and, the sounds start playing and things attached to the ceiling. And
that's that Blair Witch money at
work. He'd be thrilled to know I'm describing, parts of his home. But it was a sight to behold. And talk about collection goals right there.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no, it's awesome that you say it, because, Eduardo is somebody that I've never met in the flesh, but I've chatted to him a lot on Facebook and gotten advice and mentorship from him that way. I was a big fan of his film Altered, but I think...
Yeah.
Because I think it's got a different title somewhere else, if I'm not mistaken. It's Altered and Exists somewhere. But yeah,
No, Exists was a different film. That was another film. The Sasquatch film.
That's the one I'm thinking of. Altered is the alien film. And
yes.
Exists.
I was in his movie Lovely Molly.
Oh, wow. I love how small this community really is. It's crazy. Kind of jumping back off that, some of those film titles that you listed off sound like films that I should have seen, but I haven't.
Shame on you, Paddy. Shame on you.
Zombies versus everything, basically.
Well, my buddy Justin Timpane and I were both struggling actors in the DC Baltimore area around Maryland. And, we'd get together and watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer and, Clerks and Angel. And, that was kind of like our thing. And we went to see Clerks 2 in the theater together. And there was a moment where they said that they wanted to buy the Quick Stop.
Yes.
And that was kind of like a light bulb moment for both of us. And we said, we should buy the Quick Stop. Let's make our own opportunities.
Yes.
So we went to a Blockbuster, my Blockbuster, because I was a store manager at the time, go figure. I'm dating myself right now. And we just walked around to see what movie wasn't there. What did we not see? And we just landed on Ninjas versus Zombies. And that idea took off and we did it. It was super lo-fi. It was super low budget, but it had heart.
I love those kind of movies.
It did well. We got it internationally sold. We got it on. We got it into Blockbuster, which was crazy. And then we said, let's strike while the iron's hot. Let's do what's hot right now. Twilight, vampires. Let's do Ninjas versus Vampires. And we even lampooned Twilight in the first couple seconds of the movie. So it's there.
Sparkly vampires.
Yeah, exactly. And we got that one internationally sold, and then we got that into regular distribution. It kind of blew up a little bit, and it was listed, I think, as one of the top 10 illegally downloaded movies of 2010.
Wow.
So it's like, oh, great, we didn't make any money, but sure, we'll take the title. And then
the placard on your wall.
It's just made of the middle of the toilet paper roll. That's all it's made of, because that's all it's worth. But then I had a friend who was fighting overseas in Iraq at the time, and he mentioned he got a hold of me and he said, "Hey, one of the street vendors has your movie."
What?
So, okay, that happened, and how many people get to say that happened? So
exactly.
That was really cool. And then we finished with Ninjas versus Monsters. And we got them all on Amazon. You can see the first two on Amazon Prime. And Ninjas versus Monsters, I believe, is on Vudu.
Okay.
Vudu right now.
That's amazing. I mean, I've just had the first experience of my first feature film. We picked up a very small distributor in Scotland who put it out on Amazon Prime, and that's basically where it lives. But I mean, we made that feature film for $5,000, so
wow. Yep.
yeah, like
in the same vein, man.
Yeah, like my second feature, which is the one that's here. Well, it's in a posters up behind me. This one, The Perished.
Oh, good poster.
Yeah, I got Christopher Shoy, who's an amazing poster artist, did the poster for us. He actually reached out and wanted to do it, which blew my mind.
Wow.
But that one, we've gone through the actual process of we picked up a distributor, and it's, you know, released in the States on Amazon, iTunes, DirecTV, all the VOD platforms. And
fantastic. I'll check it out.
Oh, cheers. It released on April 7th, so right at the start of kind of quarantine lockdown and everything. And my distributor was like, could you not have made something a bit happier and a bit more escapism? Because this is such a sad, bleak, depressing movie that people don't want to really be watching it at a sad, bleak, depressing time.
You're not doing a good job selling it to me.
Yeah, I wear it on my sleeve. Like, that's what the film is. It's about Ireland, what Ireland was going through a couple of years back. And I mean, there's moments of levity in it and stuff, and there is a big creepy monster, but it is.
That's always good.
Yes. Yeah.
I have a screenplay that I've been tweaking for years, but I want to get to Ireland to film it because it takes place there, and it would be nice to visit.
Well, if you ever do, I know a production company that do some good stuff, and they're very cheap.
Good to know. I think we got something here.
I'm actually kind of in the middle of trying to figure out how we get back to socially distanced shoots now, because I have a little short that
I think we all are.
Yeah, I think that's where a lot of anybody in this industry is. I mean, one thing I will say is that for you, I imagine with being a voice actor, you're probably kept relatively busy throughout this, or if not very busy.
Yeah. Look, first of all, my heart aches for the world right now and the people who are out of work, who are struggling, who are losing their homes. I mean, this is such an unprecedented time. And yeah, I've been fortunate enough that my side of the industry seems to be recession proof and seems to continue to thrive. So I've been auditioning almost as if nothing happened. I mean, there was a short period of time where, you know, things kind of just came to a halt while we figured out kind of the dynamics of what was happening. But then it started to pick up, and I think Hollywood in general realizes that we can still do animation right now. We can still work remotely from home. We can work, you know, in different ways, but yeah, mostly from home. And yeah, I have a recording setup here. So I've been recording episodes for Disney and for video games. And again, it's been a learning curve because I've never had to run a session from home. I would only do my auditions. Yeah. And you know, there's certain things you can fudge along the way. And when you're doing a session, it has to be on point. So upgrading my infrastructure, my hardware, software, that's all been part of the process. But yeah, man, I am just full of gratitude to be able to still work.
I totally understand, because I mean, even earlier we were speaking to our kids about this because they're going back to school soon here in Ireland, and we were kind of like trying to not terrify them, but get them to understand all the things about, like, you know, what if somebody comes up and offers you a juice box? Do you take it or not? You know what I mean?
Yes!
Juice box? Damn straight! Free juice box? Are you serious, Dad? Of course.
It's been tampered with? More! It's a tough situation, man, and everybody is doing their best to cope with the circumstances and try to get past it. I mean, look, there are always opportunities to do better. You know, I advocate obviously for people to wear masks when they're out in public, wash their hands frequently, just, you know, be cautious, be overly cautious. Yeah. Because this is part of, unfortunately, this is part of the human condition. Yep. Occasionally there are pandemics that sweep through, and you know, we are in the best position we could possibly be in this day and age with science and technology to be able to confront those and mitigate the problems that come with that. But Yeah, it doesn't seem like we did that great of a job this time, and hopefully we can get past it sooner rather than later.
Yes, although I will say it's great to have technology, as you said, because
Yes.
I think
In 1918, they didn't have Zoom, they
no,
didn't have Amazon.
during Spanish
We have so
flu,
many
yeah.
things to be able to keep sane and stay well during
and
this time.
and entertainment has proven to be one of the main things. I mean, it's funny again
Yeah,
because arts are something that people don't put a lot of, unfortunately, people don't put a lot of value on at the best of times. But
that's
then
right.
when we suddenly are like, oh wait, we have to stay at home all the time, then people are like, oh man, arts are important. Like,
I can't tell you how many times someone has said, "Oh, that's a nice hobby you have."
yes, exactly.
This is what I do for a living. This is my job, my chosen vocation. And let's be clear, it's a great job. It is a great vocation. I love what I do. But yeah, I've been devouring content while I've been home,
Yes.
and watching all different kinds of things. The arts are ever more present and ever more important. And I can only hope that people understand that and put some stock into that. It's not just a vanity project or things like that. It's,
Hmm.
artists like myself, we want to create. We
Oh, big
want to
time.
make people laugh. We want to affect other people positively. And, there's no better job to be able to do that. So I'm grateful for the arts.
I mean, this is a perfect way though to segue. I mean, I I was fascinated when I first kind of looked you up after Steve tipped me off to you that he was like Daniel Ross, and I looked you up and I saw that you voiced Starscream in the Transformers movie
That's
game.
right. That's right.
I was like immediately kind of awestruck at that because I imagine that we come from a relatively similar age bracket, and uh, like growing up, Transformers, obsessed. I mean, what was it like to jump from being a fan to being Starscream? You know what I mean? Like one of those characters
Um,
whose voice is iconic, like beyond iconic.
yeah. And I knew it, and I knew it. Oh, believe me. I was always a huge fan of Transformers. I helped manage a website called the allspark.com. You can still go visit it if you'd like. I was an administrator over there and a moderator for many years, and I loved the fandom. I loved,
Yeah.
surrounding myself with Transformers and collecting them and talking about them and everything else. I was such a big geek. And I would go to conventions and I would meet some of the voice actors behind the property. And
Mm.
there's a thing that happens when you meet people who are like yourself. You want to be more like them. You want to model their behaviors. And I met these amazing, wonderful people over many years, and all of them encouraged me and said, "You have something, you should be using it." And one of the people, there are many people, but one of the first people was Scott Mcneil, who famously worked on Beast Wars
Oh
Transformers.
wow, yeah.
He really saw something in me and said I should pursue it. David Kay was another voice actor who got me and said, "You should be doing this. Why aren't you already doing it?" Um, and lots of other people. David Sobolov has encouraged me for many, many years, as one of my dear friends. So you meet your tribe,
Yes.
and you decide what you want to do. And I have always had a proclivity to do voices. I have a funny voice to begin with. So I would do imitations of cartoon characters when I was a kid. I would imitate my teachers at school and get in lots of trouble. I would do
Class
prank
clown.
phone calls. Yeah, all those things. And it just never occurred to me that I could do that for a living.
Wow.
But I always loved on camera work. I loved going to the movies and being sucked into a good
Yeah.
story and feeling affected by the things that I saw. The ability for an actor to make me feel sad, angry, happy,
Mm.
joyous was magic to me.
Yeah.
And I wanted to pursue that. So yeah, I started with on camera. I started in musical theater. That was my
Oh
degree in
wow.
college. And then it transitioned into film work and on camera, and then production so that I could facilitate my on camera work,
Yes.
and then writing so that I could produce, so that I could act. So everything fed itself. And, after many, many years, I just decided, you know what? it's time to head to LA. It's time to take a shot at voiceover, because you have to move here or New York to really, if you're really serious about it. These are the hubs.
Yes.
So I packed up my car, I drove cross country, and here we are. But Transformers, I went on a little bit of a tangent there.
I love it. I love tangents, just as a heads up.
Have it here. No, I don't. I don't know where it is. Oh, here it is. I made, with the help of some of my artist friends, I made a comic book.
Oh, wow.
That I sent to Steven Spielberg and Michael Bay, and it was, a very self-aggrandizing comic book thing that features me in a story with the Transformers.
Oh, wow.
Just to get some attention, because I had heard that Elijah Wood dressed up like a hobbit and was reciting lines from Lord of the Rings in the woods for his audition for Lord of the Rings. And I thought, wow, well, maybe I could do something similar. And that was my idea. I can send this off. I don't have to, make a movie. I can just have something that I can send in the mail. And it was effective. I got my audition for the Transformers movie, which is all that I wanted. That was all that I wanted. And it didn't happen that way. I didn't end up in the movie because I believe at the time they said, Starscream's not going to talk. But Activision contacted me and said, would you like to audition for a couple characters? And of course I said, yeah! And then a few weeks later, hey, you've got the role of Starscream, Hound, and Mixmaster. And I was literally in a Toys R Us looking for Transformers when I got that call.
God, that is kismet right there.
Take of that what you will. But that
Please tell me you immediately bought.
True.
Please tell me you immediately bought Starscream, Hound, and Mixmaster.
They weren't available at the time, at that particular moment, but what a dream come true, man. I mean, the realization that I set out to do something, I thought outside of the box and was able to get the attention that I wanted, because how many people wanted to be in a Transformers movie with Steven Spielberg and Michael Bay? I mean, everybody would want that opportunity, and it worked. So that was kind of an eye-opener for me, that if you want something, you just have to go after it.
Yeah.
You can't expect that it's going to come to you.
It's going to land in your lap. Never. Yeah.
That's right. So that was a big learning lesson. And man, Starscream, that was just, such a dream come true. I keep repeating myself ad nauseum here, but I loved Chris Latta and his original version of Starscream back in the 80s. Decepticons, retreat! and of course in G.I. Joe, retreat! Always retreating.
Always.
Interesting story about Chris Latta. I'm very good friends with his daughter, Abby.
Oh, wow.
When I first moved out here to Los Angeles, I was telling a story outside of the Hollywood Improv. We had just finished Rob Paulson's Talking Tunes.
Oh, no way. I love Rob Paulson. He's amazing.
Oh, my gosh. No, I love Rob Paulson. Rob is amazing.
Amazing.
And I'm talking with a group of people, and we're just kind of, standing around in a semicircle. And I was talking about an experience where I had a fan who brought me up to Sharon, Pennsylvania to do a signing, to do like an event. And there was a moment where he handed me the 86 soundtrack in record form with all the autographs of everybody who'd been on it. And he hands it to me with a pen. And I said, no, I can't do that. And he looked at me and he said, I never got Chris to sign this before he passed away. Would you do me the honors? And I was so conflicted because I'm a huge Transformers fan, and that would be like desecrating something, and I had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
But he asked very nicely, and I said, okay, I'll compromise. And I wrote for Chris.
Oh,
and
fantastic.
Then I signed it. And I'm telling this story, and Abby, who was right across from me, started getting a little teary-eyed, and I didn't understand. And they said, oh, that's Chris's daughter.
Oh, my God.
And we hugged it out, and we've been friends ever since. She's in my voiceover troupe, the Green Giraffes. And
so she got into VO work as well.
She's very good. She's actually really good at creature sounds.
Oh, phenomenal.
She does great creature noises, but just an overall amazing voice actress. It clearly runs in the family, and an amazing person. She has 2 wonderful kids, a great husband, and really good friends.
That's phenomenal. I will say that I mean, one of the things that gets massively overlooked in movies, but I think even more so in VO, is creatures. Like, as I say, I think a great creature performer is so incredibly important. But then on
Yes.
top of that, the noises to go along with a great creature are so important as well. And we live in an age where everybody just tries to digitally do these things, or we'll just pull in this and that and we'll mix them together. But if you get somebody who can do these kind of inhuman noises, you know.
There are a couple people that I know offhand that do it. I mean, D. Bradley Baker,
Yes.
of course. I have watched him play his sinuses before. It's incredible the things he does. Frank Welker, of
Yes.
course, amazing. Abby Cluster, she's amazing. Jan Johns is another amazing voice actress who does creature sounds that just creep you out. Kellen Goff does great things.
That's going to be so
there's
much
a
fun
niche
at
for that.
parties. That's going to be so much
There's a
fun
niche
at
for it.
parties, just breaking out the creature sounds. But then again, it might be like when you're off the clock, you're like, if I'm not being paid for it, I'm not doing creature sounds.
What would it sound like if a warg was getting drunk?
Yeah.
There you go. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
I mean, one of the questions that I was going to ask, and I'm so glad because this is, as I say, what I love about the kind of just having a conversation and not kind of sticking to this strict set of questions or whatever, is that we get there in the end anyway. And that question was like, have you been doing voices forever? And it sounds very much like you have.
I've been doing voices for a very, very long time. Professionally, I would say since about 2007.
Wow.
2006, 2007. I used to do fan dubs, back in the day. The current voice of Starscream, Frank Todaro, and I used to do fan dubs back in the day for Transformers. So it's amazing how things progress over time, and he's doing amazing with
That's
his
so
career out
cool.
here. So kudos to Frank, a fellow Transformers fan. John Bailey, another huge Transformers fan who's now the epic voice guy.
Oh,
And does
wow.
big trailer voices, and
Yeah.
he's done Transform. He was Shockwave and Soundwave in Bumblebee.
Yes.
So yeah, it's great when you're part of a fandom of something and you have a passion and you turn that into reality. It's really something to behold, especially when they're your friends and peers. That's just something I love seeing.
It sounds like, in my terminology, it sounds like you found your badgers. And that's what
Yes.
I say.
Although they don't transform into anything, so meh.
Unless they
Although
transform.
there is a Beast Wars toy from Japan that turns into a Tanuki clock.
Close enough.
So-
We talked about some of the other things that you've been a part of, but actually, before I get to Lucky, which I'm fascinated by, first, and also Donald, because that's a big one. But I want to talk a little bit about some of the other video game stuff you've done, because I noticed that you did some stuff for StarCraft 2, you did some stuff for Star Trek Online. I mean,
That's right.
they're, yet again, big, and Neverwinter. Big franchises, you know what I mean? StarCraft 2 was probably one of the biggest games coming out when it did. I remember just the fervor over that game, because it had been
I remember it too. Yeah.
16 years or something since the first game. It was
Right.
insane. People thought the second game would never release, and then it just got announced. But yeah, like, I just love to know like a little bit about what that experience was like working on those games and video games in general.
Video games. So my primary focus is character animation. I love cartoons. That's where my heart lies, but video games as well. The performance aspect of video games tends to be more naturalistic, more real. So I relish those experiences, being able to step away from, big cartoony, crazy kind of stuff, and do something that's a little bit more focused, that requires a little bit more technique, that requires a bit more thought behind it. So I really relish those opportunities. Video games are different in that you really don't get to do your homework ahead of time. You go into your session and then you know what the characters are. Then you know what your script is. So you don't get it ahead of time and rehearse and have that opportunity. You kind of go in blind, and they say, okay, give us a voice for this. All right, give us a voice for that. And you have to deliver in a moment's notice. So, generally when I go into these kinds of things, I will try to glean based off the name of the character what type of archetype it might be, so that I can predetermine a couple options if necessary. But for character animation, you'll get your script ahead of time. You know what the character is. You have some time to really sit and live in that character. So voice actors who do video games, when you hear these amazing performances coming out of people, a lot of the time it's in a moment's notice. I got my script, here we go. Well, so that is inherent in the talent for most video games that I see. So video games are difficult. They're difficult to do. They take a lot of time.
Yeah.
You have efforts that you have to do. Usually at the end of a session, all right, you're being impaled from the left. All right, you're being crushed from a rock from above. All those kinds of things that are strenuous. And there have been sessions where I've blown out my voice, and I end up sounding like Harvey Firestein or something afterwards. It's crazy. All right, Bubby, we'll get to the next one. Let's go. And that's at the point the voice director says, I think you're tapped. I think we should reschedule. No, I'm fine. Blood, it's okay. You have to be very careful. But I love video games so much. I love the opportunity to be an actor and embody these characters. Not to say that doesn't happen with characters, with cartoon characters. It's just a different beast. Every bit of it is acting, but video games are very, I want to say withdrawn. They're within, you have quiet moments. Cartoons rarely have very quiet moments.
Yeah.
So very different dynamic on both sides, but I love them both equally.
Oh, I can only imagine. I mean, I've done a very, very tiny amount of voice work myself. So it's something that I would definitely like to expand on and do a bit more of. Even on my live streams, I have a thing where I say, suggest an accent and I'll try doing it if people donate or whatever. And but I've done one where I was doing like the race car announcer. Oh my God, he's coming around the outside. Oh, that kind of a voice.
Yeah.
I did one where I did the epic trailer guy voice. In a world gone mad. And people I was showing it to were like, is this really you? I was like, I swear it is. It's like, their only hope, their only desire.
Well, what? That's going to happen anytime in voiceover. Is that really you? Yeah. I don't believe that's you.
And then the last one I did was for a short film where my friend was directing it, and he said, I need somebody to be the voice of the devil. And I was like, oh man, please tag me in, please. I want to try.
He's like, I couldn't have thought of anybody better for the role, just you.
I was like, I was like, let me audition. I don't want to do the whole friends pulling favors thing. If you don't like it, cool. Like, let's leave it out. And then what I did was I have an e-cigarette, which changes your voice actually, because it's got the opposite of helium in it, so it lowers and deepens your voice. So I used that for the audition, and my voice went ultra deep. And he was like, oh my God, you sound amazing. But what he didn't realize was that on the day I'd be vaping the entire time that I was recording audio for it.
Well, I will just throw up the disclaimer that, for voice work, don't do anything that's going to harm your voice, that's going to harm you in the long run. There are many things that can do that. Just be mindful of the precious voice box that you have.
Yes, but it is something that I definitely am, as I say, fascinated by. There's a couple of little ones. I was even telling Joe Ockman that one of the Joe's great. I was telling
Cricket.
Yes, Jiminy and two Disney guys, Jiminy and Donald. This is amazing. Oh my God, that's so good. Obviously.
Thank you very much.
Wow, that's incredible. It's something that I never went. This is something I'd like to do as a profession, but at the same time, it's something that I'm just so interested in. And then that's actually moved now as well into performance capture, which is something else that interests me massively. And what you were talking about a while ago about people encouraging you, I've had a couple of people encourage me to, because of my background as a director, they've said, why not try and get into cinematics directing? And it's playing around in the old noggin. Yeah, it's something I would be interested in. Let's talk Lucky, because this is one, like, look, I will say, right, that I think it was 2006.
Oh no, he's after me, Lucky Charms.
That's amazing. I love that is basically like what people who don't know how to do, like, no offense, like, but what people who don't know how to do an Irish accent that I know do to try and pretend like they have an Irish accent. You know, it doesn't matter if they're from the US, the UK. If I'm like, do an Irish accent, that is what they say. Oh no, they're after me, Lucky Charms. You know, like.
And every Irish person grumbles in unison.
It's never fazed me, and I think that's because I like Lucky Charms. At
Stockton Con, when Penny O'Brien, when she discovered that I was lucky, she gave me quite the glare.
Oh, no way.
I was like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What should I say? I'm sorry. That's when the look of kill brought on.
Like, Lucky is a massive pop culture icon as well, though, because even stuff like Rick and Morty has lampooned, you know, Lucky. Like, that character has been in every Simpsons, you name it, that character's turned up in every form of media you could imagine.
Yeah, indeed.
And as I say, I mean, look, right, I don't think that there's anything wrong with a little leprechaun character, you know, going out like that. To be honest, like, we use it here as a means of, you know, trying to. I grew up in a place just about, you know, half an hour from where I live. There's a castle called Bunratty Castle, and I used to know a bus driver that worked out there, a tourist bus for, you know, bringing tours around. And he would say, "Guys, did you see that leprechaun out there? Did you see him?" And people would jump off the bus, like, be like, "Stop here," taking photos of bushes. So, like, we can't be angry about Lucky the Leprechaun and still use leprechauns. Like, that's not fair.
Whatever works, man.
You've been doing the voice of Lucky for a while?
I did Lucky for about 2 years.
Yeah.
It was about 2 years. I don't know what the circumstances were that precipitated the need for me to do it, but I was told to emulate Doug Prees,
yes,
who had been the voice for many years. And now currently Eric Bauza, the voice of Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck, is doing Lucky. But he's doing a different version, like a younger version of Lucky the Leprechaun. So for me, I was really just emulating what was already there.
What a previous
but yeah, I did that for 2 years. And interesting story about this, it was one of the very first jobs that I booked here in Los Angeles. My agent had gotten that for me, and I was literally driving off the lot of my retail job. I was working overnights at Target, managing logistics, all the trucks coming in and the freight and product going out from, you know, 10 p.m. until 8 a.m. every single day. Yeah. And my last day on the job, when I said, okay, I'm going to just do voiceover now, this is it, I got the call as I was leaving.
Whoa.
You got lucky.
You got lucky.
I was.
Oh my God, look at the Irish.
Man, absolutely. I literally got lucky. So that was quite an experience, and recording for him was a delight. Yeah. I'll never forget when I was a kid. My parents didn't let me have a lot of sugary cereals. So when I would visit my grandparents, they'd say, all right, we'll get you whatever you want. And I would pick Lucky Charms when we go to the store, and I would pick out all the marshmallows and I'd mush them into a ball and I'd eat them, and it looked like I massacred a unicorn afterwards. That was one of my fondest, childhood memories. And these characters, these cartoon characters, are anchors to our childhood.
Nostalgia, absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely. So, regardless of the fact that, Lucky is promoting a high fructose corn syrup, sugary ball concoction of cereal, there were very fond memories for me, and I'm sure for many other people. So, yeah.
I mean, we don't stock Lucky Charms in Ireland, right? And growing up, we didn't at all. Like, you could not get them. I had friends when I was growing up.
There has to be a comparable cereal, though.
No, not
really.
Like, well, nowadays there definitely would be, because nowadays we basically stock what's in America, more or less. Whereas when I was growing up, we literally had cornflakes, Frosties, and Rice Krispies, and that was your cereals. Pick one.
All right. That's reasonable.
Oh wait, Cocoa Pops as well. Yeah.
There you go. All right.
Yeah, that was the one that we went to my grandmother's, and it was like, oh, she's got Cocoa Pops. Yes.
That's awesome.
But I had friends that their dad was from the US, and they'd go to the States, and every time they'd go, I'd be like, I knew of certain things from American media, from watching American movies and TV shows, cartoons, and so I'd be like, hey, bring me back some Twinkies, like, because we didn't have Twinkies, so I'd be like, Twinkies, Oreos, bring me back some Oreos, and then the other one was Lucky Charms, and I remember they brought me back Lucky Charms. And then I got addicted to them, but I couldn't get them anywhere.
Oh, no.
I had to be, like, detoxed off of Lucky Charms. Like, but
they're magically delicious. They're magically delicious. They're magically delicious.
Yeah. And now there's these specialist stores where you can buy, root beer and Lucky Charms and all the American supplies, but they charge you an absolute fortune for it. So like a box of Lucky Charms, which I've been to the US now, I've seen that a box of Lucky Charms is very cheap. Well, it can be like what, $6, $8, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I'll see it on the market usually. It's been a while since I've looked. About $5. Like
here, they're selling those in these specialist stores for like €12, which is about $15.
Oh my goodness.
Because they know that they'll get idiots like me who once in a blue moon will be like, I just want a box of Lucky Charms, man. I just want to get all the marshmallows out and just squeeze them up into that ball.
I just want red balloons, that's all.
But from
It's interesting though, you mentioned root beer. Most people I know from outside of the U.S. detest root beer. I love root beer. I grew up with it, so I don't know if it's just an acquired taste or what, but I love root beer.
I definitely think it's an acquired taste thing, right? Because I arrived in Vancouver 3 or 4 years ago for a festival, and I stopped at, is it A&W or A&?
Yes, A&W.
A&W, and I got a bottle of root beer. And everybody told me you got to try it. And when I tried it, I went, this is mouthwash. This is disgusting. Right? And so I went, and then we went for chicken. I think Popeye's chicken or something one night over there as well. And root beer came with that. And I was like, oh, God, this stuff is disgusting. I was like drinking it. Oh, it's so disgusting. Continues drinking it. And then flying back out, I was like, I need another root beer. So I ran into somewhere in the airport and got another one. And every time I've gone back to Canada or every time I've gone back to the US, I love it. I'm addicted to it.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. But again, my
must just be an acquired taste, I guess.
I think so, because my wife tried it and she had the exact same reaction that I did at first. She was like, this is disgusting. It's toothpaste. Why would somebody drink this?
If there's toothpaste that tastes like that, I want it.
Me too. But again, like you can buy bottles of root beer here for like €4, which is like $6. Like it's just tapping people out big time. Whereas when I was in Canada, I could get those giant cups of it. Probably good that I'm being kept away from all that stuff. If I'm being honest.
Your kidneys thank you. For me, it's root beer and cream soda. Those are my guilty pleasures. If I go for a soda.
I'd never
pop, as some people say. Sorry.
Yes, soda pop. Yeah, because it depends on which side of it. Like I know people from Massachusetts say soda, or something Well,
I'm from the East Coast of the U.S., so we would say soda.
Soda, but on this side,
and people in the Midwest would say pop. So it's one of those things where if somebody says pop in the presence of someone who says soda, they go, and vice versa. If you say soda in place of pop, so call it what you will.
Oh man,
I always called it soda.
The only place that I've ever been in the US, you'll probably appreciate this, is slap bang in the center, which is I was at Panic Fest, this brochure here, for my US premiere in January. First and only time that I've been to the US so far, and that's in Kansas City, Missouri.
Wow.
So slap bang in the middle of the country.
Amazing.
I really loved it, but again, I think it was Kylie Vernoff from Red Dead 2 said she was like, absolutely no offense. That is like, you know, a beautiful place, I'm sure, and everything, but that doesn't count. You need to go somewhere like New York or LA.
Definitely. I mean, those are, you know, the big cities are the cultural hubs,
Yes.
you know, of anywhere in any
big
country.
Time. Dublin, London,
So,
Paris. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I love the countryside and getting to see, you know, how people live.
Same.
If I go travel, that's where I want to go. I don't necessarily want to linger. And when I was in Japan last year, for the first time, I went to Tokyo, but then I traveled about 2 hours outside of Tokyo to Nikko.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Which was just a beautiful, beautiful town, beautiful surroundings. I loved Japan. Oh my goodness, I can't wait to go back. The food!
Oh, the food is amazing. I went there in 2010, and I absolutely loved it. I was there for Tokyo Game Show back when I was a game developer, and I absolutely adore. As you say, I went with a guy who had lived there for 2 years. So he knew all the ins and outs of like, this is a good place to eat. It's super cheap, and this. Yeah. Like, I was getting all that like like the udon ramen and everything, or donkatsu, I think was the thing I got addicted to. Yeah. I was stuck in Tokyo for the 2 weeks. Unfortunately, I really wanted to get out of Tokyo. I really wanted to like. My dream is to go to Japan and head down south to like a little fishing village right down the bottom. That's my dream.
Yeah.
And you know.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
My aunt, my mother's brother's wife is from Japan, so I grew up with Japanese culture on that side of the family, and the language and the food, and I always loved it. But I had no concept about Japan until I actually went. And I just wanted to go to see where my toys were made, where my toys all came from.
I bought a lot of.
But one of my guilty pleasures, I will watch travel vlogs on YouTube where they go and they try all the different ramens, from different locations, north and south. That's one of my guilty pleasures, because I had never had real ramen before I went to Japan, and my eyes were opened. Oh my goodness! But we have some good places here in LA. Comparable, but not quite the same.
Yeah, I really want to go back to Japan. It's high up on my list, actually, of like, but the problem is I've got to wait for my kids to be a bit bigger, because one is 9, one is 5. A, the flight would be horrific for them.
Ooh, yes.
But B, I think they'd need to be a little bit older to understand like that it is, it's literally like landing on another planet to some extent. Like it's not like going to Rome, where basically it's exactly the same, but people just speak a variation of English. They're both Latin derived languages. So if someone says il telefona or whatever, you're like, okay, I kind of understand what's going on here.
Yeah.
Whereas when you go to Japan, it is an entirely different alphabet, an entirely different language. It's so massively different.
But I would say that the people were very patient.
Yes.
If there was a language barrier, they were very patient and understanding, and really would attempt to help you if they could. And my first experience was getting on the subway, getting on the trains, and I didn't know what I was looking at. So thank goodness for Google Maps being able to help me get to where I needed to go, because I was completely lost. But just such an amazing experience.
Definitely.
I love Japan.
So from Japan right back to the heart of America in a lot of ways. Let's talk Donald Duck, because like
all right.
Donald Duck is one of the. That's so amazing. I could not do that if I tried. If you paid me like $1 million, I couldn't even do it. Like, that's amazing. I like Donald Duck is one of the holy trio in my opinion. Like you've got Donald, Goofy, and Mickey. They're like the big three of those Disney characters. I mean, how amazing!
Don't forget Minnie or Daisy.
Oh my God, yeah.
And Pluto.
Yeah, okay, Pluto. Yeah, I'll allow it. No, in seriousness. But I think in my mind it's really funny, because you just always think of, I always think of growing up, I used to watch the really old Disney cartoons, like not 70s, 80s, I was watching the the one where they're hunting ghosts, and
Yeah.
and those are the ones that stick out in my mind that I remember. So, and like what I want my kids to watch, I'm like, oh no, you gotta, don't mind this. You gotta watch the Three Caballeros, or you gotta watch, like these older ones. But that's why, as I say, I just those three spring to mind immediately to me of like it's why even when I think of something like Kingdom Hearts, it's like those three characters are the three characters in that series,
Absolutely.
But I mean, what is that like for you to be that character, like a character he's back over there. I can't quite see him. I can see his foot sticking out. There we go.
He's hanging over there. He's keeping watch. It's amazing. It's amazing. I mean, I never in a million years thought that I would even have the opportunity. The characters are kind of like Supreme Court nominations. You're in for life.
Yes.
And so, when this opportunity crossed my path, I couldn't believe it. But this was the very first voice I ever learned how to do as a kid. I always tell this story, but my mom used to tuck me in at night. She taught me how to do it. And she would tuck me in at night and say,
"Oh, Daniel, I love you so much."
And I would say,
"Oh, Mom, I love you too."
And that was our thing. We would just go back and forth with. And growing up, it was, for friends, for parties. I was on the set of a movie called Something the Lord Made with Alan Rickman and Mos Def. And I was at the craft services table, and I was, doing my Donald Duck and, just being ridiculous. And Mos Def comes up to me and he's like, "How'd you learn how to do the voice?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh." So like I've interacted with people doing the voice, and everyone always said, "Oh, I've got an uncle who does that. I've got a friend who does Donald. Yours is pretty good, but it needs some work." And so, I
prove
come
them
here,
wrong.
Well, look, I was in the right place at the right time. Whether I'm the best at it or not, that's up to other people to debate, but I was in the right place at the right time. My agent said, "Hey, do you do this?" And I said, "Uh-huh." So I auditioned, and it took. They wanted an exact match of Clarence Nash. They wanted the classic Donald, which was a little bit more unintelligible. So, I did my best iteration of that. And a month later, I got a call back. And I was shocked. I'm like, oh my gosh, Disney is requesting me. Oh my goodness, being in the presence of Disney.
Yes.
So I got to go down to the Disney TV animation building, and I walked in with all the good ghosts, haunting those hallways, and just feeling the immense joy of a childhood grown up on Disney, being where it was made. And I was so nervous. I was so nervous, but I went in, I did what I needed to do. And I'll never forget, there was a moment where a couple of the producers were in the back, and they're just kind of, going through their notes and reading stuff, not really paying attention, just listening. And they were saying, "Okay, Daniel, we want you to say ridiculous. Can you say ridiculous?" "Okay."
"Ridiculous."
"Okay, cool. Can you say this? Can you say that?" And I said, "Can I offer a suggestion?" And they said, "Yeah, sure, go ahead. What do you want to do?" And I said, "Well, what about
supercalifragilisticexpialidocious."
Oh.
And the people in the back who were going like this went, and of course I can't hear what they're saying because you have to hit the button, but they're like, and they said, "Can you do that again, please?" And that was the moment in my brain I went,
you might have this, or you do have
maybe. So more time passed. I had a second and third call back. We sang a song in character.
Oh,
I discovered I have a nice vibrato as Donald, which was fun. And a couple days later, I got the call, and they said, "You got it." And in that moment, I mean, my life changed. My life changed for the better, not just because of the character, but because of, personal things that were going on in my life. My mom was going through a bad bout of breast cancer. And
that voice was something that connected you and your mom. So that's right. Incredible.
So I got to fly her out here to LA and go to the studios and see where it's made. And I got to see that sparkle come back in her eye. Because she was always my creative inspiration, a great artist in her own right. She would draw, sculpt, sketch. She was a huge Trekkie.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So to be able to give that back to her was true Disney magic in my book.
Oh my God, that's such an incredible
And
story.
I kid you not, as of, let's see here, it was a couple in a couple days. Next Tuesday is the fifth anniversary of the day I got the call that I got the job.
Way.
So we're kind of in that time period right now of me reminiscing. And I just recently started a journal for Donald. So anytime I have something relevant to the character, I'm journaling about it, and hopefully that'll be a good keepsake for my kids or whomever someday. But yeah, this character means the world to me. The responsibility of the character weighs heavily on my shoulders, because look what came before me.
Yes.
Clarence Nash, Tony Anselmo, being the third person to voice an 86-year-old character, a character that everyone knows, that my parents knew, that my grandparents knew, and even my great-grandparents knew. That is such a responsibility and such an honor, and I am borrowing the keys to the cabin cruiser, as I like to say, for as long as they'll have me.
They'll have, I mean, it's amazing.
It's been quite a ride, man.
It's amazing because, I mean, like, my daughters, especially my 5-year-old, she watches, Disney Plus, and she watches Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck and all the different shows, the Donald and Mickey shows on there. So, like,
please
tell her I said hello.
Yeah, I will for sure. And I think it's so funny though, because I've probably heard you God knows how many times in the background while I've been pattering around, tidying up or whatever, and Donald's been chirping away in the background, and I've not, you know what I mean? Now I'm sitting here talking to you and realizing, my God, that is you in that little box.
What's really interesting for me is all of my friends who I grew up with in high school and, throughout my life, who have kids of their own now.
Yeah.
Tell me that they watch the show and they're listening to me. So it's weird because I get to touch in with my friends and affect their lives positively, which just means the world to me. And I'll tell you this, I went to D23 for the first time last year.
Oh, wow.
Because I was so curious about the Disney fandom. I really didn't get an opportunity up until that point to get out and know people. So I wanted to see what the Disney fandom was all about. And I learned all about the pins, and I learned all about, the collections and the diversity of that fan base and how many people love different things and what they're focused on. I was just blown away by it. And I found myself loving it too. I have my own Donald Duck pin collection now, and I have some, stuffed figures and cars and things. This is my man cave, obviously, so my creative space. But it's been quite a ride, man, and I'm just so happy to be doing it, and I hope to be doing it for as long as they let me.
That is honestly everything. This is one of those stories that I just love to hear. It's just such a nice story. I mean, in a lot of ways, it's similar to Joe's story with Jiminy, but I mean, just in the sense that he said the same thing about, like the responsibility and the weight of the character. But like, again, like when you're talking Donald, you're talking, as I say, like when you look at anything with Disney on it, more or less, you're going to see one of three characters, or, no, as you say, Minnie and Daisy are up there for sure.
Absolutely.
As well. But like, he is just such a central piece of that Disney puzzle. That it's mind-blowing. And every time I'm upstairs and I'm hanging out at 7 o'clock in the morning and the kids throw on Disney Plus and I'm lying in bed and I hear Donald Duck, I'm like, oh God.
Thanks, Daniel.
Daniel, I'm trying to sleep.
And yes, I've gone to Disneyland and I've done the voice, and of course people go, oh, that's really nice. Good job.
That's gonna be amazing.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
That's so good. But like, now to kind of ricochet off this into the last thing I kind of want to chat about, which is that I have spent most of the evening watching your various TikTok videos.
I'm sorry.
Please don't be. I was in stitches.
Oh, good.
I was busting myself laughing. Particularly the lemon one. The lemon one I rewatched about 450 times.
Hi, it's very important to and
That was an homage to a Will Sasso routine. He used to do those kinds of things on Vine.
Oh,
And, imitation is the highest form of flattery, and it would always make me laugh. So I said, hey, if it makes me laugh, let me do that. So all credit to Will Sasso on that.
but like one of the great things about TikTok is that's the whole, like I don't have a TikTok, I don't really use it, but what I do enjoy about it or watching other people's is that it is a lot of it is repeating what somebody else has done, doing a certain take on what somebody else has done. Like it's an actually interesting new art form. It's like a fax, a meme fax. It's like, here is a copy of another meme, but with my own interpretation or layer.
I look at it this way. It's a community of people that want to play together.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah.
So sometimes somebody has a really great premise for something, and then everybody imitates it and does their own version of it.
Almost
So
like
we're all kind of inviting each other and giving ourselves permission to play in this space. And during this time of quarantine and everything else, I mean, there was a learning curve for me because technology, like, oh man, the kids these days, I don't know what they're doing with the tickety talk. And I got into it and I figured it out, and I love it. I absolutely love the medium. And making characters like the Karen the Hunter, which I plan to do some more with, by the way. Those are things that I've really enjoyed, and I've been able to tap into a creative side of myself that has been dormant for a while. When you're in the booth and you're by yourself, and there's not a lot of room for physical expression.
Yeah.
You're channeling everything through your voice. So being able to be free and create characters and play. It's so nice.
Another great one is just the one, the X-Files theme, and you're like the tinfoil hat coming out of the box.
Oh, yeah.
not if I kill him first.
Well, people will post comments, and you can respond in video form to their comments. And his comment was something like, everyone's trying to kill you. I'm like, well, okay, tinfoil hat, bring it on if I kill him first. I love that. And being able to interact with people directly, that's something that my generation didn't really have with celebrities or people in the spotlight or voice actors. You would have to write a letter, send it off, and hope for the best. In this case, you can just slide into my DMs and be like, hey, what's up? And I'll be like, what's up, boo? And you'll be like, yeah, what's up, this Tom? And I'll be like, yeah, it's great. It's so much fun, and I love the ability to be able to do that. I can't do it for everybody because I do get swamped at times.
Yes.
I've woken up to almost 300 messages, in a day. And I want to give the time to everybody, but sometimes I just can't. So that's the only facet of it.
But I mean, to be fair, you have 100,000 followers. So I mean, that is that's understandable that you can't give, because
we're growing. We're growing. You know what? It's important for my industry, believe it or not, to have a following.
I understand.
There are times when there are casting decisions between should we go with this person here or this person with 3 million followers?
Clout? Yeah, exactly.
So sometimes that factors in. Not all the time, but sometimes.
It can be helpful.
It's good to have that.
Yeah, like it's something that even with myself, I mean, I don't do the YouTube channel or stuff like that I don't do it for trying to get monetized and trying to make money and all the rest of it. What it really was similar to what you just said about TikTok. During quarantine, I was like, I need something to keep my brain occupied.
Yes.
I can't make
just something to have fun with.
Yeah.
If I'm not having fun with it, I shouldn't be doing it. And I'm having so much fun with it.
Exactly. And the funny thing is with the YouTube channel, I'm having so much fun with these interviews. They've really taken over what the YouTube channel is. It was originally just me playing video games, which I enjoyed, but this stuff, interacting with people, having a chat, having the conversations about this stuff, I love this so much more that this has kind of become the main focus of the YouTube channel. And I'm fine with that. That's, as you say, if it's keeping me happy and keeping me sane, and then same with the live streaming. Actually, the live streaming is something that I have a lot of fun with because, as you said there's a direct, immediate line of communication with the live streaming where somebody says something to you and you can immediately respond to it.
That's right. That's
and
right.
it's a little bit of instant gratification, like kind of.
Yeah.
But I have to say that one of the things that stood out to me as well from watching your TikToks is Buddy the Bird.
Yes.
You're my honey bun sugar plum, pumpy umby umpkin. You're my sweetie pie. You're my cupcake gumdrop, snickums, spickums. You're the apple of my eye.
Buddy the Bird.
Yes, I have a little crimson-bellied conure named Buddy, and he's in the other room right now.
He's amazing. though. Like,
He's a lovely little guy, and I love him to pieces. And yeah, just a lot of fun. I've always been a bird person. I grew up with a Moluccan cockatoo, one of the big white ones.
oh wow, with the
orange
big
crest.
yeah.
Yeah, big teddy bear, big teddy bear. A lot of people don't understand birds, and I adore them. I love dogs and cats too, but I just happen to be a bird person. So yeah, I have Buddy, and he's a joy.
It's one of those things, isn't it? I'm wearing a T-shirt at the moment from one of my best friends, Tristan Risk. She's an actress from Canada, and her whole thing is reptiles. She's grown up, and she loves reptiles. And a lot of people, again, don't understand that. They go, "Why would you love a snake or a lizard or a, And she's like, "It's just that's what I'm
Her
drawn to."
thing.
And it's the
That's
same.
her thing.
I love cats. My wife hates cats, so therefore we're never getting cats. Which breaks my heart, but we have dogs. That's fine.
Perhaps you can compromise and get half of a cat.
Yes, maybe half. I'll just go full Nickelodeon. Get a cat, half a dog.
Yeah,
Get her. What do you got, cat dog?
that's right. That's right. Well, thank you for checking out my TikTok. I appreciate that. Again, it's just been fun. If it's not fun, why are you doing it? And exactly. I'll tell you this, because you mentioned your YouTube channel kind of changing and not anticipating that it would be interviews. Another amazing voice actress, Kari Walgren, told me once, "Don't be afraid to let your dreams change."
Yes.
And that's important, because sometimes you did what you set out to do, and then something else gets your attention and it puts you in a different direction, and that's okay. That is okay. Some people are afraid to deviate from the thing that they wanted to do, or change anything, and we live in a life of change. So embrace that and do what you're called to do, and if it feels good, keep doing it.
That is such a great outlook. I mean, it's very much a similar philosophy to what I share. I mean, I was a video game developer, and then I fell out of love with that. So then I did video game journalism, and then I fell out of love with that because I realized.
I love your idea of trying the cinematics, directing the cinematics.
I have luckily I have some friends that have a studio in Europe, and they're doing like not massively like AAA budget level stuff, but they're doing very high quality stuff. And they were like, "Look, we won't be shooting again until 2021." They were like, "But you're more than welcome to fly out to London, head to the soundstage and step on as assistant or help out." I'm like, anything, get my foot in the door. And like, because talking to Steve and other Red Dead cast members about, my favorite thing about directing is trying to get people places. I love like just being like, now in saying that when you're doing something emotional, it can also just take it all out of you. But the idea of with video games, you are basically back in like the earliest form of theater where it's like that mop handle, that's a sword. You're a sword fighter now. And this is a shield, but it's actually a biscuit lid, or like a biscuit tin lid. But I love that. I'm like so obsessed with imagination and all that is something that really does appeal to me. So yeah, look, I'm gonna see where things go.
Look, we grow. As we get older, we are focused on the toils of our life, and the arts and imagination. Again, harkens us back to simpler times and restores that thing inside of us that is sometimes missing. So, for you, finding your passion is incredible, and having it be something in the arts, even better. And for me to be able to bring life to cartoon characters and inspire another generation of me's sitting in front of the TV and enjoying the voices and imitating them. There is nothing better that I could be doing right now. So always follow your passions. You, all your listeners, do it. If you're thinking about doing something, don't think about it anymore. Just do it.
Just get on it. I'll show you.
You can fail at the things that you're going to do anyway. So you might as well try.
Oh wait,
to do something you want to do.
My thing is backwards, so you won't be able to see it. Can you read it? It says
follow your. I can't read that word. Stupid?
And then a swear word.
I like.
Dreams.
I bet you can't read mine.
Oh, wow, no.
It's Cybertronian. It says transform.
That's so cool. Oh, my God. I thought it was Japanese or that's so...
And everybody does. It's just for me. It's just for me. You know, once we finished the Transformers game and I was going to different conventions, there was a fan who approached me with her artwork, Brandy, who approached me with her artwork, and she said, I do these glyphs. You know, would you like something with this glyph? And I was like, yeah, Transform would be really cool, or Starscream. Yeah. And my stunt double from Ninjas vs. Monsters happened to be a tattoo artist. So I'm like, you know, I had just lost 60 pounds. I was transforming my body. Yeah. This guy who played me was going to do it. This fan who created this, it all just came together. And I said, yes, put it on me.
Just, life, just all the pieces coming together at the right moment.
Exactly.
Well, I have to just laugh, though, because, again, it just all ties back, because when I was getting this, even though it's obviously got a swear in there with its follow your stupid effing dreams, I was like, the tattoo artist was like, and what kind of font are you looking for? And I was like, the Disney font. And he's like, the Disney font? Are you sure? I'm like, I'm 100% sure, man. I'm 100% sure. My favorite was...
It livens it up. It livens it up.
Also, I grew up... It's funny that we talked about it, but, I grew up a Disney kid. My aunt had every one of the Disney classics on video. I would watch them religiously. My little cousin was obsessed, and I used to babysit her. So we would just watch Disney sing-along songs on repeat over and over and over again. So Disney holds a very special place. And I think I'm not unique in that. I think that there are a lot of people out there that Disney is the thing.
Definitely.
What you said about nostalgia and stuff being tying you back to your childhood. All I have to do is hear the start of just that little opening fanfare of any Disney film, and I'm back there. Even I woke up this morning and my daughter is watching Bambi, and I'm like, I was supposed to get up and get to work at 9 a.m. My alarm went off at 9. My daughter is watching Bambi, and I stayed in bed till 10:30 watching Bambi because I was like, I gotta watch Bambi. It's on. I'm not gonna not watch Bambi.
Of course. Man, the Disney magic is real. And getting, like I said before, getting to meet the fans has been such a joy to me, hearing everybody's stories and meeting so many people. It's a wonderful side effect of the industry that I'm in. I'm here to create and to work. This is a job, and it's a nice side effect to be able to influence people positively and hear their wonderful stories about how it affects them in different ways. That is such a joy. And to seek joy for yourself, I think sometimes means to give it to others.
I could not agree more.
The fans of Donald and Starscream and Lucky and all the other characters, they fill me with joy, and I'm grateful for that.
That's amazing. I think that's a perfect place to close this out. I will just say, outside of Tik Tok, where you are very prevalent, where else can people keep up with you on the socials? Is it Twitter, etc.? I will drop links in the description. But
yes, please. It's funny that you mentioned that, because today I just dropped a voice battle with Ben Giroux with Lucky the Leprechaun. So you'll have to go to my TikTok channel later to check that out. But you can find me across all social media under actor Daniel Ross.
Perfect.
Actor Daniel Ross. TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all across the board. You can find me under actor Daniel Ross. And I hope you do. I would love to meet you and hear your stories and stay in touch with my shenanigans because I have them.
I love keeping up with what everybody's doing, especially at times like these. It's just nice when you see the madness that's going on in other people's worlds.
A lot of madness. Oh boy, so much madness. Oh! Sorry, you saw my quarantine hair. I feel shame.
I saw it in one of your TikToks earlier anyway. I saw it in your This Is 40.
I figured that's just part of the persona. I got a little Doc Brown thing going on.
But you sounded like the guy from, well, obviously he's doing an impression as well, but in Wreck-It Ralph.
Yes, you're thinking of King Candy.
Who is voiced by that amazing actor who I can't think of his name. He's been in Firefly and everything.
Yeah, of course I'm going to forget his name.
And he's in Tucker and Dale versus Evil, all that stuff.
Yes, I love Tucker and Dale. My goodness.
I feel like such an idiot.
But the inspiration is Edwin from Mary Poppins.
There we go. Yes.
Yes, no, Edwin is a fantastic character. Wonderful. He used to be a clown, if you could imagine that. And the voice of the Mad Hatter. And if you go to my channel, you'll see lots of impressions with that. I even played a character on Bunsen as a Beast called the Keeper of the Cures, which was an elevated version of Edwin. Oh my goodness.
And you also played a truck driver in The Loud House, which my daughter is, again, like she's watching The Loud House like crazy on Netflix. And there we go. I flick on TikTok and I see you doing the truck driver.
There you go, man. I'm in your living room and you didn't even know it.
Oh, Daniel, thank you so much.
Paddy, thank you. Thank you so much for a great interview and taking some time. Anytime I get a chance to reach out and tell my story and talk to some fans and people who, hold the same things near and dear to them, the geeky side, the horror comedy side, I love it. So thank you for this great conversation, man.
Dude, as soon as I get off this, it's now like nearly 1 a.m. here. I'm going to go in and I'm going to throw on Amazon Prime and I'm going to watch Zombies versus Ninjas.
Ninjas versus Zombies.
I got it right the first time. I backtracked.
You got it.
I'm sure if I type in either, it'll come up. Hopefully.
I play a very acerbic and potty-mouthed pizza delivery ninja.
Excellent.
Yeah,
my favorite.
Very interesting.
Honestly, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. And
thank you.
Yeah, guys, keep up with all that Daniel is doing by following him with the links below. And
what do I say to my friends across the pond? Toodle Bob, Bob's your uncle.
Or what's it?
That's what you all say, right?
Sure.
Mind the gap.
That's a very UK thing, 100%.
There you go.
But yeah, I will just say that if you like what you saw here, please hit the subscribe button down under there and stick around for all the amazing stuff we've got. I'm sure I'll be back chatting to Daniel again in the future as well. See where we catch up in a post-quarantine world.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Thank you so much. And as always, guys, let's survive together and peace out.
Oh, it's a kitty. You guys ought to be ashamed.